I decided to create this free mini course about early retirement after seeing an overwhelming response to an answer I gave on the website Quora. If you're not familiar with Quora, it's a great site where people can ask questions about just about anything: finance, politics, science, pop culture, exercise, you name it. And anyone can answer, including people who are more expert in the field. Well, I had answered some questions in the past, but never had the reaction I had to this one. The question simply was, what should I learn in my 20s that will help me to financially retire at 35 and travel the world for the rest of my life? I started my answer with, I retired at 43, but if I knew in my 20s what I know now, then I could have retired at 35. Here are the 6 steps I've developed to help young people set themselves up for a successful early retirement. And from there, I outline the 6 steps that I'm going to show you in this free mini course. But before we go over what the 6 steps are, I just want to show you what happened in the 3 weeks after I posted the answer. In those first 21 days, the answer was shown 742,000 times, upvoted almost 3,000 times, and shared over 900 times. I didn't even realize what had happened until I started seeing a huge spike in traffic to my website, retireby45.com, which was mentioned in the answer. And a few other stats. Over 5.6 million people were sent my answer in the Quora Digest, and I became a most viewed writer in life advice. Now, I share these stats not to brag, but to illustrate 2 things. First, there's a serious need for knowledge about personal finance for young people in our country because they simply don't teach these principles in our schools. And 2, the solutions aren't rocket science. I think that's why my answer was upvoted and shared so much, because the steps I propose are easy to implement, and I'm living proof that it's possible to successfully retire early. Now, let's jump into what the 6 steps are. The first step is to know your numbers. Get in the habit of tracking your income, spending, assets, and liabilities. Put all these numbers in a spreadsheet and update them regularly. You should know your monthly net income and your net worth like the back of your hand. So what do we mean by net income? It's simply your total income from all sources minus all of your expenses. Ideally, you'll calculate this on a monthly basis, so it'll be your monthly net income. By calculating your monthly net income, you'll be able to see how much you currently have to start putting towards savings, investments, and paying down your debts. You can create a basic spreadsheet like the one shown here. As you can see, to get your net income, simply tally up your total monthly income and then subtract your total monthly expenses. Now you can see clearly how much extra money you have each month that you can use for saving, investing, and/or paying down debts. Now let's look at your net worth. What exactly is your net worth and how do you calculate it? Well, it's simply the sum of all your assets like your home, your car, and your bank accounts, minus all your liabilities like your mortgage and your car loan. Net worth will give you a very clear picture of the strength of your financial health. You can use a spreadsheet like this one to calculate your net worth. Just tally up your total assets and then subtract your total liabilities. I suggest updating your net worth weekly or at the very least monthly. Even if it doesn't change that much, it'll keep you more focused and in tune with how your finances are doing. Now keep in mind that your numbers might not be great yet. In fact, they might even be negative. But don't be discouraged. We're going to help you get those numbers up, way up. The second step is to figure out your target retirement goal. We'll show you how to use the 4% rule and the multiply by 25 rule to calculate how much nest egg you need to retire. Basically, these rules say that you should have at the minimum 25 times your yearly expenses in your retirement nest egg. The 4% rule is used to help you determine the amount of money to withdraw from your retirement nest egg each year. The idea is for you to withdraw a small percentage of your nest egg to live on for the year while leaving the bulk of it untouched so that it can continue to work for you. In other words, according to the 4% rule, if you stick to a withdrawal rate of 4% or less of your nest egg each year, you theoretically should never run out of money. Now, where did this rule come from? Well, in 1994, a financial advisor conducted a study of historical returns, focusing on the severe market downturns of the 1930s and early 1970s. He concluded that even during very weak markets, no historical case existed in which a 4% annual withdrawal exhausted a retirement portfolio in less than 33 years. That leads us to another rule called the Rule of 25. This rule will help you determine just exactly how much nest egg you need to retire. What is the Rule of 25? Well, if we simply flip the 4% rule, we can calculate that your required nest egg is equivalent to your yearly withdrawals times 25. One bit of advice on the 4% rule and the Rule of 25. You should consider these to be your minimum requirements for setting your nest egg goal. If you can live on 3% or even 2% of your nest egg, that will give you more security. If you want to play it safe, aim for a nest egg goal that's 30 times or more of your yearly expenses. Our personal nest egg is about 50 times our annual expenses because we continued saving and investing while also cutting expenses. So getting 30 times or more is very achievable. Now let's look at an example. Suppose your yearly expenses are $30,000. Take that $30,000 and multiply by 25 to get your minimum savings, which comes out to $750,000. Now multiply by 30 to get your safer bet, which is $900,000. Now, if that number seems a little daunting right now, just know you can reduce it by lowering your expenses, which we'll look at shortly. The third step is to pay down debt. If you have credit card debt, you'll never retire early. Devise a plan to eliminate credit card debt as soon as possible. As for other debts, like student loans, car payments, and mortgages, the more you can eliminate, the better. Once we paid off our mortgage, it was smooth sailing into early retirement. You're probably not going to be able to pay off all your debts at once, so you have to prioritize which ones to pay down first. Obviously, the debts with the highest interest rates should be paid off first. You should also look at other factors, like whether the interest is tax deductible and if there are annual fees. Another strategy to help pay off your loans faster is to consolidate your higher interest loans into one lower interest loan. Not only can consolidating help you reduce the interest rate you're paying, but it can also lower your monthly payments, protect your credit, and help you pay down your debt faster. Automate your payments. If you haven't done this yet, it's a no-brainer and super easy to set up. Automating your payments will help you avoid missing any payments and/or getting late fees. It'll also save on postage and time, no more worrying about when you need to mail your payment. To set up automated payments, just log into your account online and look for AutoPay or Pay Online. Set it up to make the payment each month from your checking account. You just need your checking account number and routing number, both of which can be found on your checks. And if you can't figure out how to do it online, just call the bank or creditor and they should be able to walk you through the process. In addition to automating your payments, you should try to pay more than the minimum each month. This strategy will help you reduce the total lifetime interest you pay and enable you to pay off your debt faster. Even if you only pay 10% more than the minimum, every additional amount helps. One tip, when using the strategy on your mortgage loan, which is a great way to pay off your loan faster, by the way, just make sure to specify that you want the additional amount to be applied to your principal balance and not to the interest payments. If you have a lot of student debt, check with your employer to see if they offer any reimbursement plans. Some companies have programs to help their employees pay off their student loans faster. Also, look into any federal or state student loan repayment and forgiveness programs. These programs are available, so you may as well see what's open to you. Just Google government student loan reimbursement to see what you might qualify for. And lastly, if you feel your debt has gotten out of control, there are other options you can pursue, such as credit counseling, debt settlement programs, and even bankruptcy. Now, you may be wondering, how will these actions affect your credit? Well, enrolling in a debt management plan, or DMP, through a credit counseling agency will show up in your credit history, which may have negative implications to some creditors, but it won't in and of itself cause a decrease in your credit score. As for bankruptcy, it is true that a bankruptcy can stay on your credit report for up to 10 years and seriously hurt your credit score. However, not filing for bankruptcy and allowing your debts to go to collections will also negatively impact your credit. So sometimes declaring bankruptcy may be your best and only option. The fourth step is to maximize your income now. To build your nest egg, you need income, and the best way to maximize income is to develop multiple streams of income in addition to a full-time job. Some examples: contractor freelance work, side hustles, gig economy jobs like driving for Lyft or Uber, sharing economy opportunities like renting out a room on Airbnb, and creating an online resource for sale like an ebook, an online course, or a video on YouTube. For freelance work, you can find a variety of opportunities on sites like Upwork, 99 Designs, Fiverr, and Thumbtack. These sites are great for skills like marketing, web design, engineering, and writing, and other skill sets that are typically in high demand. Many businesses prefer to hire freelancers or contractors to work on projects that are too small to justify hiring a full-time employee. And if you do a good job, you may be able to extend your contract, get additional projects with that employer, or even get hired on a more permanent basis. Side hustles, or side businesses, can be a great source of additional income. I was lucky enough to build up a side business for 5 years that earned about the same as my regular full-time job. All these are just small businesses that you set up and work on in your spare time. Now, you can structure your business as a sole proprietorship if it's just for you, or you can create a partnership or LLC if you're working with others. As for the types of side businesses, you can focus on a product like creating your own blog or course, or as a middleman or wholesaler on sites like Amazon and eBay. Or you can also build a business around a service like web development, tax prep, design, etc. If you prefer not to sit at a desk all day, there are all kinds of income opportunities in the burgeoning gig economy, also known as the on-demand economy. You can drive for Uber or Lyft, perform tasks for other people on TaskRabbit, deliver food for Instacart, or find babysitting opportunities on Urban Sitter. These jobs are great because you can pretty much pick and choose when you want to work and how many hours you want to put in. A more passive way to earn extra income is with the sharing economy. This involves renting out or sharing something you own to others for a fee. You're basically using your assets to work for you and make money for you. The most popular sharing economy site is Airbnb. If you happen to own your own home, you can make extra money by either renting out the whole property or just a room. There's even a service called Pillow that will manage your Airbnb for you. Now, one tip: if you own a condo, just make sure your HOA allows short-term rentals. Otherwise, you might be violating their rules and can get fined. Some other sharing economy opportunities include Getaround for car sharing, Spinlister for your bicycle, and Sailo for, you guessed it, your boat. In addition to selling things you own, you can also create something new to sell. If you have some expertise in a topic, then you can develop an online resource like an ebook, an online course, or a how-to video on YouTube. Ideally, the topic should be about how to do something specific that others would like to be able to do. Some examples: how to build a website on WordPress, how to invest in the stock market, how to play the electric guitar and get into a rock band, how to interview for a job, or how to rebuild a car engine. The possibilities are endless. The fifth step is to learn how to invest. In this step, you're going to take all that extra income and grow it. You should understand and take advantage of these 4 investing concepts: compound interest, dollar cost averaging, diversification, and automation. The first concept is compound interest. To put into perspective the power of compound interest, just read what Albert Einstein, one of the greatest minds in modern history, had to say about it. He said, "Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it." So what exactly is compound interest and how does it work? Well, basically it means that you're earning interest on interest, so each year's gains get larger and larger. This chart shows an exaggerated effect of compound interest using a 20% rate of return over 10 years. But even if you use a 10% rate of return, that would enable you to double your money in about 7 years. The second concept is dollar cost averaging. This is an investment strategy of buying a fixed dollar amount of a particular investment on a regular schedule, regardless of the share price. By using this technique, you buy more shares when prices are low and fewer shares when prices are high. When you average out the price you paid for these shares, you haven't paid too much or too little, kind of like Goldilocks. This way, you're not trying to time the markets, which is pretty much impossible, or make investments too complicated. The third concept is automation, setting up auto investments and letting them run. You can basically set it and forget it. Now, we've talked about how to automate your debt payments like your credit cards. Well, you can also automate your investments. The easiest way is through your company's 401k plan because they'll automatically make the investment for you from your paycheck each period. But you can do the same thing on your own with your IRA or non-retirement stock investments. Just connect your bank checking account to your brokerage account and instruct them to invest X amount on a regular basis. We'd recommend investing weekly if possible to take advantage of dollar cost averaging, but at the very least, plan to do it monthly. And the fourth concept is diversification. As the saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. By diversifying, you'll spread your risk over a variety of different investments. For example, if the real estate market tanks in your area, you still have stocks and bonds. Or if US tech stocks take a tumble, you're still invested in corporate bonds and international funds. Now, to make the most of this technique, you need to diversify across asset classes like stocks, bonds, and real estate, and within asset classes such as small, large, US and foreign companies, and corporate and government bonds. The sixth and final step is to slash your expenses. If you really want to retire in your 30s or 40s, you can't spend all your money on stuff you really don't need. Reduce or eliminate small expenses. Some examples: cut your cable cord, cook your own meals, buy groceries in bulk, drive an old car, get your books for free from the library, get free stuff from sites like FreeCycle and Nextdoor. There's so many ways to cut your expenses. The first tip here is to buy things used or secondhand, especially big expensive items that lose value quickly. Some examples: your car. You'll save a lot of money by buying a car that's a few years old. And if the previous owner took decent care of it, it'll feel almost like a brand new vehicle. Furniture. Look on sites like Craigslist or Nextdoor for used furniture. Many people look to sell their old furniture when they get new furniture or are moving. Typically, they're motivated and are willing to sell at a lower price. And clothing. You can buy secondhand clothes at stores like the Salvation Army or Goodwill, or online at sites like ThredUp or Poshmark. Many times the clothes are as good as new, but might just be out of season or have a small flaw. Buying in bulk. A small story for you. I remember years ago when Allison and I first moved in together. She sent me to the store to get some mayo, and because I was used to living as a bachelor, I returned with a small personal-sized jar thinking I was saving money. Well, she couldn't believe it. She was always taught to save money by buying the largest possible size. Now, I'm very used to buying in bulk. We've been shopping at Costco for many years and get a variety of our household items there to take advantage of the bulk discount. Things like toilet paper, cat food, cat litter, peanut butter, my personal favorite, coffee, and snacks. And you can also check out other warehouse club stores depending on what's most convenient for you. Another way to save money is to do things yourself rather than paying someone else to do it for you. Not only can you save money this way, but there's a certain sense of satisfaction from doing things on your own. Some examples: small home improvement projects. We've done our own projects like fixing a garbage disposal, replacing toilets, painting, and installing a ceiling fan. Gardening. There's a certain zen feeling to working in your own garden. And your taxes. Even though our taxes have gotten complicated over the years, Allison prefers to do them herself with TurboTax. It's a lot cheaper than hiring an expensive accountant, and it forces you to better understand what's happening with your money. If you're ever not sure how to do something, just go to YouTube, and there's most likely a how-to video to walk you through it. Allison is the master of finding free stuff for us. I'd venture to say that roughly 50% of the stuff we own, we got for free. The best place to find free stuff is on free stuff websites. The two that Allison typically uses are FreeCycle and Nextdoor. You can also get free stuff on Craigslist. The nice thing is that not only are you getting something for free, but you're keeping something from being thrown into landfill. We're also big fans of clothing swaps. Our friend Monica has been hosting a semi-annual clothing swap for years. Almost every item in my closet has been from one of Monica's clothing swaps. The way it works is you bring all the clothes that you no longer wear or no longer fit, and you take any available clothes you want. They may be used, but they're basically new to you. Anything that's left over goes to charity. If you're interested in finding a clothing swap, try searching online for one in your area, or talk to your friends about hosting one of your own. Another area where you can really cut back on the spending are all the creature comforts of your home. Some of the money-sucking culprits are your clothes dryer, your temperature controls, heat in the winter and AC in the summer, and your cable TV bill. To help reduce these household expenses, you can do the following. First, dry your clothes outside. If you don't have access to a yard and a clothesline, you can just use a fold-up clothing rack and put it on your deck or in your bedroom. Second, cut the cable cord. There are more and more cheaper options now than using one of the big cable providers. Check out Sling TV, streaming services like HBO Now, Amazon Prime, and Netflix, or just opt for basic cable or even an indoor TV antenna to get local channels. And Google is also in the process of putting together a streaming service on YouTube, so keep an eye out for that. And third, turn down the AC and the heat. Bundle up with extra sweatshirts and blankets in the winter, and open windows, close your blinds, and run fans in the summer.